You have a theater background where you're telling one specific story in a set amount of time and you know where your character's arc is going. But on Kung Fu, you've been learning more and more about your character with each episode. How did that change the way that you approached and developed this character?
For sure, for sure. Okay, so again, there's so many lessons that I've learned in theater that I have been able that I still apply now to my work here in this fantastic show, and that is one of collaboration.
Mm.
Truly, it is collaboration. So in I ask a lot of questions. It's one of the things that drove my mother crazy as a kid because I just couldn't stop asking, but why? But like why? No, but like, but mommy, why? And she's like, stop. So no, but it is these, it starts with to my curiosity about what is happening and where is she going and how and am I on the right track. And so with that said, our showrunners Christina Kim and Bob Behrens have been fantastic in making themselves accessible to answer any questions that I may have. And I don't know if this actually happens in other television shows, right? But in our experience, and I love them so much, and I'm so grateful for it, given us a little bit of a privy, a
Mm.
window of what's to come, just ever so slight. Now there are some that like we absolutely don't know, but at the start we'll have like a bit of a meeting one-on-one. They'll like give us like a shape of like where they think this is going, where this character is going, and then they'll say stay tuned and I'm like okay. And then sometimes there are some elements that they can give me some head notice if they know, and so for that then I'll just do what I can to prepare.
When we're introduced to Pei Ling, she is Nikki's Shifu, and she plays such an instrumental role in shaping who Nikki is. Who are the mentors in your own life who shaped the artist that you are today? And did you base them when you were shaping this character?
Oh, I have to say, oh, Kevin, I think I'm gonna cry. Um, I have been quite fortunate to have a number of mentors throughout my life, and uh, and what inspired me about the mentors in my life and have been the amount of grace and patience that they have shown me and and space that they have held for me. And I think that is actually one of the inspiring things that I try to imbue Paling with, in her ability to hold space and have grace. And I think and even now, even to this day, actually one of my mentors in from high school, he was my acting teacher, and then my mentor, and later on became was well now he's a dear friend and was my officiant at my
Wow.
wedding. Yeah, yeah, he's fantastic. Harry Schiffman is just an incredible human, and but he is yes he is. I was going to say, and then there are others, but he's the one that sticks to mind that has been there. And so when I think about Paling, and I think that one of the interesting things that my mentors have taught me, right, is that her lessons are hard learned,
Yeah.
right? Her lessons are hard learned, and so what she sees in others is that these sometimes that the lessons are in itself, or the learning of them, and that's what ultimately is wisdom, is that it's the journey, and to understand what that journey is and how are you carving out um your own space to learn all of that for yourself and for growth. So
Another perfect segue. Paley has this beautiful arc in this series where she's coming to terms with the difficult choices that she's had to make in her life and how they've affected her sister. And you already touched upon this a little bit, but how early on did the writers clue you in on her arc? And what was your process like bringing this inner turmoil to life?
oh god. So so in season one, right, and the conflict, I think I have to say that our showrunners were great. They let me know from the very start. They said, "Listen, this is the plan that we have for her. This is what we intend to see. This is most likely going to show up in this particular episode. So, and this is what, and and obviously, and they said a lot of this can be changed, but for now, this is sort of the skeleton.
Mm.
So there you have it. And so my goal is to root it in, to ground it in truth. Then comes the question, the asking of the questions,
Yeah.
right? And it may not necessarily be to the showrunners, to the creators, but just for myself, and just really, what does it mean to leave? What does it mean to lose? What does it mean for what does it mean for regret? What does it mean to hide? What does it mean to watch Nikki, right, to on her own path, and then do my best to impart all the lessons that I've learned, and so she
Mm.
doesn't repeat those mistakes. So yeah, it became a lot of that. I think I also had a wonderful scene partner in Yvonne Chapman. So we usually in theater we would probably spend more time doing table work and speaking more about it. But I think that this particular process, like, we had like a light conversation. We also made it a point to rehearse, just so because as we know, television is such a limited amount of time, unlike
Yeah.
theater, right? And then so we did our best to figure out, like, what is our playing space. I think that for me, like, I wanted to inform myself of our shared history, and so that dealt with, like, who are the people who are playing our younger selves. Ranyuan, who plays our father, and getting to know him, and the home. And so it's really about, like, how much can we ground, how much can I, what more can I do to ground itself, to ground
Mm.
my truth.
Yeah, well said. And one of the central themes within this series is family, and that comes across on the screen. How did you and the rest of the cast build that bond?
Everyone in the cast is so special, right? So special. Not only are they incredibly talented, but they're just incredible humans. And I think that in the midst of COVID, we were and continue to be each other's bubble,
Mm.
right? And so when we first started shooting season one back in 2020, we came together and we made a decision to say, this is what we're going to do. And we love this show. We believe in this show, and so we're going to make a concerted effort to 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 make it successful, and to make sure that we do our part. It's to support the show, and the work. And so that in itself has fostered a lot of community, a lot of dinners, a lot of brunches, a lot
Mm.
of outings, and we each take a turn hosting. And so that has just really a lot, and being away from our families, because we've all traveled either from LA or New York,
Yeah.
or Kang, who comes from Singapore, right? Oh my God, that's a long flight.
Yeah.
So a little bit. She needs a nap. So that's a long flight. No, but recognizing that how far we have traveled to be here, and especially in the time of COVID, and our family and friends that we've had to leave temporarily, we realize that we are each other's family. And I feel like that bond, that effort that we put into our own relationships of getting to know one another, has translated onto screen. So
Yeah.
I think that it's been successful.
Yeah, it definitely has. And speaking of community, you and the
Mm.
cast are in such a unique position where you get to see the fan response in real time through social media, and fans have expressed how much the series has meant to them and made them feel seen. What has that experience been like for you, seeing kind of the support from the fans?
Moving. Absolutely, absolutely moving. I can't say enough how much we love our fans. To be able to respond immediately to get feedback and to how this show or this character or its themes are impacting their lives is it's it's a privilege and an honor. I can't say that enough. And it really helps motivate me even more. We try to do our part to reach out, right? To create engagement with our fans.
You were speaking of the journey earlier. This is the longest that you've lived with a character. Has anything surprised you about the experience? What's been the biggest takeaway thus far?
Flexibility for change in story, flexibility of direction of where the character is going, flexibility in terms of how we shoot in a day. If something, we have a hiccup and then maybe we have to, do it again, and also the flexibility of maintaining stamina, right? Of like, sometimes we have to do multiple takes. And I mean, we do have to do multiple takes, but then what does that mean in terms of the stamina to do that take after take, and then moving forward? I think the stamina of consistently training, that's something, that's the biggest takeaway. So I think that's really, I'd have to say, is flexibility of like these changes and stamina.
Great answer. I've got one final
And
question.
baths. We really love a good bath. A good bath, like an Epsom salt. Yes. Yes. And arnica. Yes, we love
Love
them.
it. Love it. Uh, Final question for you. Season 2 is airing now. We know you can't say too much, but what's ahead for your character? Is there anything you can tease?
Ah, I can't. But I will say, you do not want to miss it. There's a Pei has reappeared, as you might have seen in our yes, and she has reappeared, and she's appearing in brand new ways, so that you might not have seen her before. So I definitely would say stay tuned, please.